Now, signs you're emotionally and mentally mature. Here are some signs. I believe that 6 signs you are emotionally and mentally mature. Number one, you're not easily moved. A sign that you are emotionally and mentally mature is you're not easily moved by things. You're not easily triggered by things. You have a poise about you. There's something mature about you. You're not easily moved. When things come in your life, it don't really move because you're rooted. If God is immutable, then we shouldn't be movable. Woo. Because God is immutable, I should be unmovable. Because he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And because my God don't change, I shouldn't change by the weather. Because he's immutable, I should be unmovable. So it doesn't matter what circumstances come in your life. No matter what changes in life, you're not easily moved. I don't care what happens to you. I don't care what's going on in our world today. I don't watch the news. I can care less about what's going on because I'm focused on what's going on in heaven. I get my orders from heaven. And if I'm still on assignment, there's no need for me to change my climate. There's no need for me to be fearful one day and faithful the next day. Because God's the same, I don't change. And that's important to understand. Because he's immutable, I'm unmovable. What is changing you? What is moving you? Whatever's moving is because you don't fully understand what hasn't moved God. God is not moved by nothing that's going on right now. If God's not moving based upon what's going on, then we shouldn't be moved by it either. So those who are rooted in God and anchored in him, no matter what comes their way globally, nationally, regionally, locally, or in your family, or personally, or mentally, or wherever it is, you're not easily moved. That's a sign of mature individuals who are mature emotionally and mentally, because things are going to come. Things are going to hit you in the face. They're going to try to attack, but you can't be moved by that, right? God is looking for soldiers who are not easily moved. God is looking. Why would God give you a wife if you're moved by circumstance as a husband? My wife should look at me as a rock. My wife, no matter what she wants, she gotta look at me and be like, my husband ain't moved by that. We had a conversation yesterday, and I'm not gonna explain it right now. But because I'm not moved by it, she found faith in it. When it comes to what we desire in life, because she saw me, I always talk faith with her. I ain't moved by now. I done seen God. Why am I going to be moved by things when I done seen God move for me over and over again so I can stay faithful? I can stay rooted because he done moved for me. So I'm not moved by what I see because he been done moved for me. So no matter what I am facing, no matter what you face, because God it doesn't move, and because God has moved on your behalf over and over, then you won't allow yourself to be easily moved. So the number one sign, or one of the signs that you're emotionally and mentally mature, is that you're not easily moved by anything. Number two, you're approachable. You're approachable. A person who's mentally, emotionally mature, they are approachable. People can approach them, right? People can approach them. You're peaceful. Like I want to be approachable because I'm dealing with souls, man. I got to be emotionally and mentally mature so that I can be used by God for God to draw people to me so I can then point them to him, and then them two can be all right together. But we have to be approachable. What's your attitude like? Do people like being around you? Can people approach you? Like you got to be emotionally and spiritually mature in a marriage. You don't want to be a man where your wife can't approach you with a concern without you being defensive. Defensiveness is proof of insecurities. Being or something going on, unless there's a false accusation and you got to defend your point. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is you got to be approachable as a woman. Can your husband come to you and have a conversation about what he's facing in life without you hitting him with this and hitting with that or being nagging? Can your children approach you as a father? When they think about a problem, when they think about instruction, because a father is one who instructs, a mother is one who nurtures. So as a father, when your child needs instructions or they need guidance, do they feel like they can approach you? Are you even around to be approached? Oh my goodness. Are you even around to be approached? Because if you're not around to be approached, then they don't follow any kind of roach. Ladies, you got to ask yourself, moms, you got to say, am I nurturing? So when my child needs nurturing, they need care, they can approach me. Or am I emotionally all over the place because I got to think about 2 or 3 different baby fathers? I got to think about whether this guy likes me. I got to worry about being a single mom. It don't matter. You signed up for that position when your legs open. You signed up for that position when your legs open. So if your legs open and you birth that child, which every child should be birthed, and you birth that child, that's your responsibility to nurture that child. If you had the responsibility, if you was man enough to go inside that garden to plant seed, you are responsible for instructing that seed. So you got to always be available. Always be available. You got to ask them, am I approachable? Am I approachable as a coworker? Am I approachable as a CEO? Am I approachable as a boss? Am I approachable as a manager? Because how can you minister if you're not approachable? Number 3, signs you're emotionally mentally mature. You have positive thinking and talking patterns. You have positive thinking and talking patterns. That's a sign of someone's emotionally mature. If I don't want to live it, then I shouldn't think it or talk it. Because you have what you say. The Bible talks about, Jesus said this out of his mouth. He says, man, we are going to be held accountable for every idle word we say. Jesus had to set the standard. He says, man, words are so valuable because, let me tell you something about God. God is not saying every day, sun come up, sunset, moon come up, moon go down, sun come up, sun come down, moon come up, moon come down. He not saying, he ain't saying nothing about no sun no more. He ain't saying nothing about no moon no more. He ain't saying nothing about no stars no more. He ain't saying nothing about no grass no more. He ain't saying nothing no more. Because he's done spoke about that. Everything right now is still being sustained on let there be. And it's still being. That's why he's saying, yo, you got to watch what you're saying. You got to watch what you're thinking. Because if you're made in the image of me, and you see what happens when you speak, when I spoke, you got to watch what you speak. Because you have what you say. You are what you think. You live what you think and talk. So mature people, emotionally and mentally, complete people, they say, man, I ain't going to think that way about myself. I talk to students all the time. And I put them through this exercise. I say, what do you think about yourself, scale of 1 to 10? I had a student say a 1. I had another student say a 5. I had some other students say a 4, some 3s. They'll be honest with me, but they'll, and I'm like, you think of yourself as a 3? You think of yourself as a 5? You think of yourself, we're not talking about beauty, we're talking about as a person. You think of yourself as a 1? Do you know how dangerous that is? To think of yourself below a 10? I don't care if you got a big forehead like me. I don't care how God made you. Oh, I tell people all the time, I only have to be handsome to one woman. And she's the only one that I'm going to hand something to. You know what I'm saying? Handsome, the handsome. Like that's it. I only have to be handsome to one woman. I don't care about everybody else. People can think I'm ugly all day. But if Brittany Ezzie thinks I'm handsome, that's all that matters. And if God thinks that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that's all that matters. So I got to change the way I think about myself because I've changed the way I talk about myself because I can care less about what you say in front of people. I care about what you say privately over yourself. Mentally and emotionally mature people, they don't think crazy about themselves. They don't talk crazy about themselves because they know who they are in God. So a sign that you're emotionally mentally mature, you have positive thinking and talking patterns. See, the sin is not in the thought. Thoughts are going to come. Thoughts are going to come from the devils. Thoughts are going to come from the divine. Sometimes thoughts spring from deep within. But the thought is not the sin. It's what we choose to think on that becomes the sin. It becomes what's out of order, right? So if whatever thought comes in, thinking of, like I always get this analogy, thought is the seed. The thought is a seed. Seeds are casted everywhere, constantly. Seeds are tossed. But if you don't allow the Holy Spirit to be the farmer and the gardener, and you're not responsible enough to be a good gardener, help and support, Seeds are always tossed through social media. Seeds are always tossed through the television screen. Seeds are always tossed through parents. Seeds are tossed through your friends. Parents throwing seeds out there talking about you no good, or they want you to be super good at things so they can live vicariously through your life. They're always casting seed. So thoughts are always hitting the garden of your soul. But you determine what you hold, right? And then thinking becomes the rain and the sunlight to that thought. So when you think on that thought over and over and over and over again, you're giving that thought life. And then when it grows, it starts developing branches and roots, which are thought patterns. So thought patterns and roots will determine how long you're held. Thought patterns and branches will determine how long you hold fruit. So if you got poor thought patterns, you have weak branches. If you have poor thought patterns, right, then you have weak roots. So no matter what comes by, that thing becomes uprooted, or it develops strong roots as a stronghold, holding you back from what you're supposed to be strong over. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You, signs you're emotionally mentally mature, you're very understanding about yourself, very understanding about others, especially those that have to deal with you and you have to deal with, right? You're very understanding, patient, you're empathetic. Like with kids in my school, man, some teachers may have a hard time, but I don't, because I understand. Certain kids I see, man, I gotta be in that kids. I gotta help that kid because I was that kid in that same hallway, right? Like I can't help but become a father figure. I'm a father figure before I even have my own kids. That's just life. But I have to be understanding. I can't just be yelling and chirping and y'all barking at them. I gotta say, okay, where is this behavior coming from? Where is these thought patterns coming from? And understanding helps me to help them stand under the problems they're going through. Or another sign of being emotionally and mentally mature, you're resilient and responsible. You're resilient and responsible. People are emotionally mentally mature, they're resilient. They can stand a long time. They can endure anything. They can endure a lot of things. Or their resiliency comes from the one that's guiding them through the thing, right? And they're responsible. They're responsible as a husband, responsible with the emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, financial needs of a wife. I have to be responsible for those needs of my wife. I'm responsible. I'm the one that pursued her back when she came in my Bible study. And I dropped that message. That message was what it was. I'm saying? The anointing was strong. Yokes were being destroyed. Demons was cast out. We raised about 4 people from the dead, metaphorically, right? Spiritually. No one physically came from the dead that day. But, it's going to happen one day, right? And so she comes in and I'm about to give her a book. You know what I'm saying? She got about to give her the book and she denied. She took the book but denied the phone number. I was asking for the phone number. I said if I give her the book first, maybe I get them digits later. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't give me the number, but I didn't let that stop me because I was resilient. And because my resiliency was in the resiliencies of Christ, I kept pursuing her. And when I kept pursuing her, and then I put a ring on it, and then I brought her into where I live, I am responsible. I shouldn't have pursued it if I was willing to be responsible of it. And that's what a man got to think. You just can't pursue a woman if you ain't willing to be responsible. As a husband, you got to be responsible for where she is mentally, responsible for where she is emotionally. That's why I can't get mad. The wife multiplies. Whatever I give, she gives back. You heard it said many times. I give her a house, she gives me a home. I give her sperm, she gives me a child. I give her a joy, she gives me peace. If I give her pain, she gives me problems. No matter what, if I give it, I receive it, especially if she's rooted in God. So it is my responsibility to make sure I always have peace. So if I want peace in my life, I got to make sure there's peace in my wife and vice versa. She has to be responsible to take care of the needs of a man based upon her role as a woman. I ain't gonna get her pregnant if I ain't ready. I'm ready now, but I'm saying I'm not gonna be out there willy-nilly out there before we got married if I'm not willing while married, if we're not in a position to make sure that we have a functional home for to bring kids in. People just be bringing kids in dysfunction, causing them to become dysfunctional, and they have to overcome your wounds that you have yet to be healed from. So you have to be resilient and responsible. Signs you're emotionally and mentally mature. You are aware that you don't know everything, but look for every opportunity to grow. You are completely aware that you do not know everything. So that means you stay teachable. That means you stay a student. but look for every opportunity to grow. That's where mentally mature people know they have not arrived, and they will never arrive until they arrive past those pearly gates. So emotionally and mentally mature individuals are people who are not easily moved. They are approachable. They have positive and thinking and talking patterns. They are very understanding. They're resilient and responsible, and they are aware they don't know anything, but they look for every opportunity to grow. Let's go to the next slide. Spiritual completeness or spiritual maturity. Man, let's keep going. Spiritual maturity is having the evidence of the eagerness and effort to become more like Christ every day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to engage more content, make sure you check out the videos over here. If you want to learn more about the books that I've written or the cards that I've created or ways that you can support and engage with what I do online, make sure you check out the links in the description box below. And if you've been watching this far, you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell, and make sure you leave a comment. I would love to read it and would love to engage and be your coach online. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.